Is going on, everybody? What is going on? The catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. Hope everyone's having a great Tuesday. Hope you guys are ready for another live 2025 fantasy football mock draft with you guys with the catch fam. We still got let's see, what, 5 spots open. So let's get this thing filled. And I mean, boys and girls, it is July 1st. Okay. And not only are we 1 month closer to the NFL season, but we have football this season. We have our first preseason game on July 31st. So it is officially time to get excited. Okay. Chargers, Lions, July 31st at 8 p.m. The countdown begins. We have training camp this month, and we have things to talk about tonight. Finally, your level of excitement might not be as high as other things that could have happened, but we do have things to talk about nonetheless. So I will get the link in the YouTube chat, but it is active on Discord as well. And getting the live draft tonight. Let's get this thing going. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football. Pete's in the house. What's up, man?
Not much. We have news. It's July. We got news. We were worried last week nothing was going to happen for the next 3 weeks until training camp started. But we got stuff to talk about and some serious fantasy implications, I think, especially at a very marginalized position, the tight end spot.
I know. I'm so excited. It's the Darren Waller special tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And, we all thought for 24 hours that the Dolphins would be without a starting tight end this year after Johnny Smith and Jalen Ramsey were both traded to the Steelers. Mika Fitzpatrick sent to the Dolphins again, or whatever. A couple draft picks exchanged in there as well, whatever. We'll talk about all that. But Darren Waller's come to the rescue. He's coming out of retirement. Still technically had to be traded, still under contract with the Giants. But Darren Waller, the GOAT, now joins the Miami Dolphins. So that is a thing. And like I said, it's a Darren Waller special tonight. I worked really hard on tonight's thumbnail. And we got a little jersey swap action for you guys. And yeah, we'll break all of this down as well. And I do think that there are some fantasy implications to talk about in some sense here. But let's start with the Steelers side of things. I truthfully did not think Johnny Smith was going to end up being traded.
They said they were done with him like a week and a half ago or like 2 weeks ago. I read the report. They're like, yeah, the trade's not happening. But I guess if you sprinkle Jalen Ramsey in the mix and Arthur Smith is get somebody who loves you as much as Arthur Smith loves Johnny Smith because he had to have him.
Yeah. I feel like fantasy wise, this is like, it's just not good for anybody. I guess it's good for like Aaron Rodgers, but he doesn't even really target the tight end position historically. So I don't even know. It's bad for Pat Freiermuth.
It's not good, but I don't know if it's terrible. Double tight sets. They do run a lot of stuff. And if like people actually cover Jonnu Smith, like Pat Freiermuth's an amazing number 2 tight end that might get some open red zone looks, touchdowns. So there could be a little something there.
It's just, it's such an Arthur Smith type move and situation to consider here. Like Freiermuth was a tight end 9 last year, 653 receiving yards, 10 yards per catch, just 65 catches, 7 touchdowns last year. Didn't really feel like that, but And we're few and far between when we're looking at the tight end, 6 to tight end 10, right? And Johnny Smith was a tight end 4, 884 receiving yards off of 88 catches, also 10 yards per catch, and 8 receiving touchdowns. So yeah, I mean that's a fair point. Like defensive pressure goes to Johnny Smith. It's good for Freiermuth and vice versa. But I mean, you just have to imagine that has to be a lot of like scheme in this system from Arthur Smith that results in both tight ends being like heavily utilized. I mean, they had to be the like number 2 and 3 targets on this team at this point behind Metcalf. Like I think there's definitely some life for Calvin Austin, who had some good moments last year. But like looking at this wide receiver room with Roman Wilson and Robert Woods and Scotty Miller, Ben Skowronek, like it's got to be the tight ends in this system. So I just don't know. I feel like once again, like I think the trade, if acquiring Metcalf didn't result in losing Pickens, and then acquiring Ramsey didn't result in losing Fitzpatrick, like I think that these would feel like more all-in moves for the Steelers in a very short window of
Their
1
window
year.
it's
Yeah.
like clearly a 1-year window. Like they have
Yeah.
to win multiple playoff games probably this postseason, or Mike Tomlin. Everybody's fired. They're going to blow the whole thing up.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good in Pittsburgh because
And
I just don't get any of these moves either. Like they took on more money to get Jalen Ramsey, and
right.
TJ Watt's still holding out. Like what are we doing here? TJ Watt wants a new contract, and they don't have any money now.
Yeah, and that is one thing like initially I didn't think about is like I guess they have to make room for TJ Watt theoretically, but then like I don't even know like the ins and outs of every contract here and like how it benefits or doesn't benefit that situation. Um so yeah, it it felt strange. Like it felt like for a moment like they're kind of going all in when I first was reading the reports. Then I saw like Mika Fitzpatrick was like being traded, and then I'm like, I just don't know. They got Darius Slay, who they acquired in free agency. So both their corners are like very talented, but super old at the same time. I mean, it was a great defense last year, but the TJ Watt thing has got to be like, I mean, this is the most important piece of that defense. Cam Hayward's like super old as well. So I just don't know. Like you said, the window is literally this year and that's it. So it just feels strange to me. I think the Steelers will be good this year. Uh, they're always good, but it's a tough division to say the least, especially with the Ravens and the Bengals both there, right? So,
And they play the NFC North, so like a tough out of conference. Their schedule is tough this year. The Steelers once again.
yeah. So, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. And I do think like right now you look on Sleeper, Johnny Smith goes, his ADP will change, I'm sure. But right now he goes right before Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, David Njoku. I'd be more comfortable with those 3 guys ahead of Johnny Smith right now because Freiermuth's still on the team. I do think Arthur Smith is going to want to get involvement out of Johnny Smith like we saw that, 2 years ago with Johnny Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Johnny Smith and Kyle Pitts. So 2023, Johnny Smith had 70 targets, 50 catches, 582 receiving yards, 3 tutties, was the tight end 17. It's only year he was with Atlanta, then he was traded to Miami. In that same year, Kyle Pitts, looking at 90 targets still, 53 catches, 667 receiving yards, 3 tutties. So strange. Let me get the draft going here. We're finally full. All right, there's everyone's spots. Let me send out final warnings here on Sleeper and Discord. Make sure everyone's good to go. And we'll keep debating what's on the table. All right. We're going. Draft is live, boys and girls. Where am I at? The 1-8. Nice. Right next to Pete tonight. Okay. Yeah. So like there's definitely a world where both, and let me pull up the numbers here again. So Pitts was a tight end 15, or excuse me, tight end 13 in 2023. And then Jonnu was the tight end 17. So like sure, there's a world where both can be top 20 tight ends, but like tight end 13 to 17 is very different from wide receiver or running back 13 to 17, you know. So I just don't feel like it's good for fantasy. But let's shift gears here to the Dolphins because I do think that this is probably positive for guys like Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and whoever else you believe in on this team, if you even believe in more than one of those players right now or more than two. I think the player that I'm seeing mentioned the most is Devon Achane, like because it is a lot of targets to be vacated, right? And Achane already had 87 targets, 78 catches last year. And now we're looking at, I mean, Johnny Smith had 111 targets last year, which is a lot. I mean, I feel like, did he lead the team in targets last year? No, Tyreek Hill still had 123, but close. He had more than Waddle. So, okay, I just almost drafted.
Same. Yeah. I almost drafted one of those Darren Waller.
Yeah. I mean, it is the Darren Waller special, but I don't want to draft Darren Waller at the 1-8. But yeah, like I listen, I know it's kind of fun right now to poke at Darren Waller in the situation, and like he has like off the field stuff, and like married, divorced, and a rap career, and like you know all kinds of stuff.
They should have never put him at fullback. That's why he retired. The Giants put him at fullback. It broke his spirits. So just don't put him at fullback. I mean, where was he in 2013? He was the tight end 22, but he missed a ton of games.
I mean, 74 targets, 52 catches, 552 receiving yards, 10.6 yards per catch, and 1 touchdown.
And this was like the Danny Dimes got hurt. Like they were weird at quarterback. They were bad. He had a couple of nice games, like 13.6, 15 points, or 16.6, 22.8, 10.1, 9.5 to finish the season. Like he had okay weeks in there.
And that's what I would say too, is like, it's so easy. Like recency bias is so strong in fantasy that it's really easy to point the finger right now and like make fun of the situation. Sure. But I remember a lot of you guys out there on a Darren Waller hype train when he went to the Giants. Like this was your guy you were going to target at tight end, and we are 2 years removed from that. But you know, we have an entire year of not playing. But obviously the Dolphins like to utilize the tight end position. So am I personally going to go out and be like targeting Darren Waller, drafting Darren Waller? No. But don't be surprised, because this is fantasy football. This is the NFL, and like we have seen way, way stranger things happen. Julian Hill, Farrah Brown, Hayden Rucci, Jalen Coiners, Tanner Connor. If anyone knows anything substantial about any of those other tight ends on the Dolphins, throw it in the chat.
They're all blocking tight ends. Blocking tight ends. I read that when the Jonah Smith trade happened. So they don't have a pass catcher in the room besides Darren Waller.
So Jalen Coiners is out of Texas Tech, and he's like a Taysom Hill. Like that would be his.
Not even a tight end.
Right. Yeah. He's like, he played receiver, edge rusher, and quarterback, and is listed as a tight end. was an undrafted free agent. So I almost drafted him at the 2.5 right here. So do what you want with that information. But so I've seen like he's been added in a lot of dynasty leagues. Like in this, I mean, Darren Waller's like the most added player right now across dynasty leagues. Like it's natural, right? You have deep rosters and tight end premium leagues and everything. So these things do happen. Ultimately, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, once again, 111 targets for Johnny Smith last year. The Dolphins do like to utilize the position. How well will it transfer to Darren Waller and or somebody else? Tough to say. It's probably positive news if like you're in a Tyreek Hill truther camp or a Jalen Water truther camp. This is probably good for both those guys for sure. Hill goes at the 2.8 tonight, for example. I would say that's slightly higher than we've seen him go, but we've also seen him go in this range. I do think it's good for Devon Achane. The biggest problem with the Dolphins is the weak offensive line and Tua Tagovailoa is
they're just the Dolphins, and they always let us down in fantasy. Like great best weeks ever, or like 0 weeks.
Yeah. Andrea says, I think Waller is a bye week replacement if you need a tight end. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're going to have a number of tight ends out there on the waivers that are going to have spike weeks. There are guys last year like Will Dissly of the Chargers comes to mind. Mike Gesicki comes to mind. There's always guys out there, and Waller could be one of those guys. But it's going to take, I would say, in like most redraft formats, like Waller's not going to be drafted. It's going to
until the YouTube video comes out. Like we get some YouTube clips, and then we see a preseason. He gets 100 yards in a preseason game, and my man's going in like the 8th round.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like I said earlier, it's the NFL. It's fantasy football. We see way crazier things happen. But I think ultimately it's going to take like a string of consistent games to come together before people are really jumping the gun. But I don't know. Sometimes you see a player have like a double-digit performance week 3, and then next thing you know, someone spent all their fab or their top waiver priority on them. So I don't know. But just don't forget too, like it's not like we were expecting Johnny Smith to have the season he had whatsoever. So, and he was a league winner last year. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, we got no news, but I mean, that was almost 20 minutes of talking there on very hot topics. So we'll see what happens. Let us know your guys' thoughts, who you guys think from a fantasy perspective this impacts the most. And we'll go from there. All right. All right, let's see who's in the chat. What's going on, Andrea? Albert, hello. Senor Cinnabon, what's up? Let me make... I'm going to go Brees. Steelers going all in just to go 9-8. Yeah.
Maybe if we're lucky. If anybody could end a streak, it's Aaron Rodgers.
It does kind of feel like the Jets situation all over again. I mean, I don't know. This is probably a better team, like coaching wise and in the trenches. But then I don't know. The Jets had a pretty good defense going into that first year with Rodgers, right?
I think, yeah, the defense was good until they fired Saleh. I think the coaching staff is like a big difference. They're adults everywhere, and they're not going to let Aaron Rodgers do Aaron Rodgers things that we saw.
And honestly,
that's the biggest difference.
I kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to do Aaron Rodgers things. Like I think he's kind of cool with just like, this is it, like let's see what happens. And But I don't know. Tough to say.
I don't know. I read rumors that he faked get married. I heard that's fake. I read some rumors that like that's not even real. Aaron Rodgers like married himself or something on like some spirit trip.
I am like I'm done trying to guess or predict Aaron Rodgers things on this channel, so that's fair. But hey, I hope he balls out and stays healthy this year. It's good for fantasy, good for real life football. And coincidentally, Steelers' first game of the year is against the Jets. I did not know that. So that should be
the NFL
spicy.
knew. The NFL knew he was going.
Yeah, that does feel a bit intentional. So the Steelers will play the Jets, the Seahawks, the Patriots, the Vikings, Browns, Bengals, Packers, of course, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Dolphins, Lions, Browns, Ravens. It's just such a tough division. Like I could see them losing like every game to the Ravens and the Bengals. I also see them winning one here or there because
I think they play obviously they play the Ravens pretty well. I think they play the Bengals well too. So that does help at least. And 2 free wins against the Browns probably.
Yeah, that's the one team that makes that division like because I mean we're not that far removed from like the Browns are competitive, and now it feels like they're just back to I mean even like there's a point where Deshaun Watson was okay with the Browns, had some good games, but we're like
we're way past we are way past that.
Yeah. I mean they got I don't know.
Deshaun Watson said he's mentoring, Shedeur Sanders. This is just bad. This is bad all around.
The top comment I saw on Reddit when that came out was like, someone needs to contact Shedeur's PR team. Not a good look. But we'll see. Cat. So let me get this straight. Dolphins have a bottom 5 line, and they traded for the guy who just retired because he had to block. And bro fumbled. No. Kelsey Plum. Never trust him on my fantasy team again. Yeah.
It's because he had to be a fullback. It's different. He would have blocked. He couldn't handle being lined up at fullback and motioning over.
Yeah, and it's like I think overall I don't know. I just don't really understand like how this benefits the Dolphins. Almost in, I guess getting Mika Fitzpatrick is good, but Mika Fitzpatrick was like
bad. He's been bad the last year and a half or so.
Yeah, and like he wasn't good with the Dolphins. He was good with the Steelers when he got traded to the Steelers.
He was pretty good. It's because Flores wanted to switch his position, so I did all this stuff on the reading for it. So like, he's not a safety. He plays. He wanted to play corner when he was with the Dolphins, and he didn't want to be a safety.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it feels like a strange trade across the board. But I get like they didn't want to. Like Johnny Smith wanted more money. They didn't want to pay him. I don't know. What was Johnny Smith's real leverage? Like he's still on the contract he originally got traded from, departing Atlanta. Like I get that he had the production he had this past year, but it's like out of every position who's going to have leverage, I feel like tight end is the last.
I think he just wanted the extra year though too. Like he got new money on the deal. I don't think he was owed any new money on the deal either. It's like none of it was guaranteed from the Dolphins. And so you know how that goes.
I'll say this. I mean, here at the channel, we're Darren Waller supporters. We're all in. It's I'm going to start taking shares of Darren Waller on Underdog, and it's going to pay off. So we're in, just like we're in on Debo, we're now in on Darren Waller too. We're going to start the hype trains on both those players. What's up, Mr. Magic? It's okay. Well, plenty more mocks. Don't fear. I like JMO in this range a lot.
I was waffling.
Yeah. I almost put Almost took a receiver at 4-5, but now I'm glad I didn't. Cameron, what's up, my guy? Bowers at 212, JT at 3-1. That's like your dream scenario right there, man. I like the start for you. Steelers getting their first losing season. I mean, it is a tough schedule. We went over it, but I could see. I'm gonna pull it back up. Hold on. Hold on.
We're now a Steelers channel, guys. We're breaking it down game by game.
Well, now I'm trying to like think. Okay, I was trying to do it on. Here we go. Oh, of course, I can't do that.
Jets. They could beat the Jets week 1.
Thank you.
They definitely could. They could definitely beat the Jets.
That's what I'm trying to do. Is like, can we pull out
wins?
9 wins here? Okay. Jets week 1, yes. Seahawks.
Maybe. They're at home. They're in Pittsburgh, so that's a big help.
Maybe.
Patriots. Maybe
on the road. Vikings.
TBD'd. It's in Ireland. Who knows?
Those, I always say it. I'm not knocking your team. It's just overseas games are weird for me. But the Vikings are always.
We're actually like we've never lost overseas. We're like 6-0, 5-0 overseas. We're really good overseas.
And you guys beat Rodgers last year overseas.
We beat Rodgers last year overseas.
I'm gonna say that's a dub right there. I'm gonna call it now. So we're at like 2.5 wins.
Yeah.
Browns 3.5. Bengals L.
No.
Packers at home is what is that? Sunday Night Football?
Yeah. That's a weird one. Maybe we'll know by then if they can beat the Packers.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards it's too good to be true, and Rodgers loses.
We'll call that loss. Yeah,
I want to say loss.
Yeah, Colts win. You can beat the Colts. They could definitely beat Daniel Jones.
5. Chargers
loss.
Bengals loss. Bears.
Maybe.
Loss. Maybe's fair.
I think is that Thanksgiving? No.
Hold on. We got a draft here.
So Bears probably lost. Maybe they could maybe beat the Bengals in Pittsburgh. Who knows what Cincy's doing?
Yeah, like we gotta give one of these Bengals Ravens game as a win.
Yeah.
So that's like 6-ish wins. Bills loss, Ravens loss. The revenge, the Dolphins Steelers game right there. I mean,
Monday Night Football. Let's go.
That's gonna be
that's probably a doubleheader Monday night game too. That's probably like the first game of like a really crappy doubleheader in December.
Yeah, that's I don't know. It's the most anticipated game I've had on the schedule all year.
Well,
so we're at like
what are we doing? They have to beat the Bears. Aaron Rodgers doesn't lose to the Bears. He owns he is a part owner of the Chicago Bears.
That feels
so we have to give him a win.
So that's like 8.
Yeah.
Then we got the Lions, Browns again.
Yeah.
That 9. I think they can pull out 9 wins.
If the Ravens are locked in, they rest everybody and they win week. They win week
10.
18. Yeah. We're at 9 or 10.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean it's very doable. And like that's the standard here. 9 wins. And I think it could easily happen. Do they make the playoffs?
If everything goes well, that's like 11. That's like 11 or 12 if everything goes well.
Yeah, or I mean maybe
they could win the division. Who knows?
I mean, they sure could, you never know. It's the beauty of the game, right? Maybe Lamar Jackson misses 6 weeks.
Stubs his toe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow still has no defense or offensive line.
We've seen stranger things happen, boys and girls. I mean, the Commanders made the NFC Championship last year, guys. So.
Always a worst to first. Always a worst to first. Look out.
Okay. Let us know what you guys think. Arthur Smith, Rogers, and DK just don't blend well. I got bad vibes. Yeah.
What if it blends perfectly?
I mean, Drake London was pretty bad in 2023. He played 16 games and was the wide receiver 37.
Who is their quarterback though? Like Desmond Ritter? To be fair, like
That's
Aaron
fair.
Rodgers, a bad Aaron Rodgers is better than Desmond Ritter.
That's fair. Kirko, that was a Kirko.
That was
He was hurt that year.
pre-Kirko. No,
Oh,
Kirko was on the
pre-Kirko.
Vikings.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was
Sorry.
like
My
that was
mind's
like
getting
Desmond
confused.
Ritter and
Yeah.
what is it, Heineke? Or,
Was Mariota there too?
yeah, it was that was the year Mariota
Yeah.
quit in the
That's
middle of
right.
the season.
Yeah, I respect him for that. his his child was born, and he just left the team.
Yeah, within 2 weeks of his kid.
Yeah.
And he was on a Netflix show while it was all happening.
Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking Kirko for no reason there. Yeah, I mean it doesn't feel like a good blend here, but I don't know. It could work out, I guess. Made a very dumb trade on top of it. Yeah. Waller going to pull his hammy 3 weeks into training camp. Could happen. What's up, Ghost Hunter? Good to see you. Don't want to say I told you so on Janu, but I told you so. Yeah, I really did not. I had faith he was going to stay put. Obviously, I was wrong. State of Pennsylvania does historically have a pretty good record against the Jets. I love that that's week 1. I love that everything is here. We have Steelers, Jets, week 1. We have Packers, Steelers in October. And we have Dolphins, Steelers in December. And then, even in November, we have this Aaron Rodgers against the Bears. I mean, couldn't be a better farewell tour. He even plays everyone in that division. I mean, he plays the Vikings. He's going to see all. But I guess he played all these teams last year, too.
No, he only played the Vikings last year.
Only the Vikings. Okay.
That was the extra game.
He plays the Lions, too. Okay. I was going to say, I don't remember him
playing the Packers.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, most teams have a good record against the Jets. Fair. All right, we are in the 7th round, flying through tonight's mock. We'll see how far back Johnny Smith goes. If there's any change in ADP. And we'll see if someone actually drafts Darren Waller. Other than that, there's your update, boys and girls. Good 32 minutes of talking on that one, too. All right, so training camp is closer than you guys think. Let's see.
There's a game in 30 days.
We got a game in 30 days. That I'm excited for. So some teams are starting July 15th. I guess it's just rookies. The Ravens always start early, I feel like. Looks like most teams, rookie and vets, will be July 22nd. Chiefs are starting July 21st. I don't see any other teams starting any early. Look at that. The Chiefs out here doing something different. 1 extra day of training camp. The Lions July 19th, but
they're in the game.
Yeah, I wonder if the
Chargers, the Lions Chargers.
That's right. Chargers starting July 16th. Okay, so 3 teams. Everyone else starting 22nd or 23rd. Who do I want to draft? Go with my boy Jaden Reed.
Very good.
I like this team tonight. Got the Boatman.
Boatman. Need a little more spice in the locker room.
All right, so 36% of you guys think Darren Waller will be the tight end 1 2025. That was the poll. Darren Waller or Brock Bowers. Make sure you guys vote. Make sure you guys hit the like, do all that good stuff. Finally was able to turn on subscribers only mode. I haven't been able to do that in like a month. It's really been annoying me. I guess in YouTube chats, you guys can now earn XP.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. But it only lasts for one stream. It's super lame.
Huh.
It resets every stream.
Well, do what you need to earn your XP, boys and girls.
Yes. Everything counts.
That'll be cooler once the season starts, I guess. We have more active streams. 36% of people here must be Dolphins fans. You never know.
Or they're trolls. This chat feels real trolly, guys. You guys feel like a bunch of trolls.
It was for the memes. I feel like
because if it happens, we're like the smartest fantasy channel ever.
Yeah,
Darren Waller, number one, smartest fan base ever.
We're the only ones talking up Darren Waller in July. I haven't seen a single thumbnail today with Darren Waller on it, except for mine. So, or ours, I should say. Just make sure you.
It's yours. It's yours. You did
I was
all
really
the hard
proud
work.
of it. Yeah,
You made it. Looks good. It looks great.
I am proud of it.
It's all yours.
Andrea, Bills fan. Ghost Hunter says Johnny Munt is and always will be tight end 1 in my heart. There we go.
Oh, R.I.P. He's in Jacksonville now.
I'm very sad that Johnny Munt is not on the Vikings anymore. Would have been better if he went to Washington, but oh well.
That would have been fun. Like Johnny Munt, mascot of the channel.
No. All right, in the 9th round, we still have Johnny Smith available. This is usually
weird. This is a hyper aggressive quarterback draft for us.
Is it?
Yeah, like Bo Nix gone by the 9th. Like we're dipping into this last
Allen
year.
Allen didn't even go till the 4th.
Then we had like a real 3 straight.
Hurts, Lamar, Jaden Daniels in the 5th. Yeah, a little bit higher for that Baker, Mahomes, Nix tier than usual. All right, does anyone like Johnny Smith more now? I think the answer is
maybe. I don't know. There's potential. I've been on the Dolphins are going to be horrendous, so that kind of scared me. If the Steelers aren't terrible, there's some serious potential there.
The sleeper update says Johnny Smith is to be used in a hybrid role. Slot receiver, fullback, and tight end is what Arthur Smith has said.
That really turns me on.
Like Johnny Smith so much.
I don't know. Get somebody that loves you. Like, I don't know. He loves him. Great locker room guy, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Who do I want to draft?
It's a very weird tier of wide receivers.
Yeah, I feel like I need to draft a running back.
Like you got your guy right there, man. Take your guy.
I know, but I'm really Goff. I'm starting to.
I was saying take Cam Scadam.
I like Jack Charbonnet in this range a lot. I'm like,
that's a good, yeah.
I just think I guess I have Walker too, so I guess it makes sense.
That's great. That's a great pick, especially if K9 goes down.
I just think in general, in terms of handcuffs, like I think Charbs is up there for me.
He's probably number 1, like as like a handcuff guy who could maybe take over.
We saw it last year when Walker was down for sure. Ghost Hunter, I think Muth and Jonnu hurt each other a lot in terms of touchdowns, at least. Yeah, it's tough. Like, I mean, when was the last time fantasy-wise we really saw 2 tight ends like
do well
exist? It's like Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, like
yeah,
probably.
Trying to think Who else would have like double tights?
Probably Kyle Pitts and Johnny Smith, and they were like I said,
Or like New Orleans, like a Taysom Hill and whoever they stuck at tight end. Like was it like
Juwan
Jimmy Graham
Jennings.
at the end? Like early Taysom Hill, late Jimmy Graham. Something
Yeah,
like that.
does that even count? Like, because
Yeah.
Taysom is listed as
Average.
a tight end, but like he's not really getting the points because he's a tight
Hey,
end, you know.
that like 2 weeks we had Mark Andrews and
Andrews and
yeah,
Likely's close.
Isaiah Lakely last year, and like the
Yeah,
end of the 2 years ago and start of this year.
that's probably the closest, and that's like very limited stretch at the same time. So I think I agree, and I just think like the hybrid idea of Johnny Smith is just too good to be true. Like
Playing wide receiver, he's running
he's
back.
not, he's not Cordell Patterson. Like I know we saw
To,
that.
to be fair, when I was looking at the pictures of Johnu Smith for the video, he was looking kind of slender. He was looking skinnier than I remember. I remember Johnu Smith kind of felt like big and bulky,
Yeah,
like in my head in Atlanta, but he was looking a little slim. Maybe, Miami has to get the bod looking right. He's out on the beach all the time. So maybe he's felt we could put him in at running back a little bit.
I also just realized that Cordell Patterson is on the Steelers.
The Steelers, yeah.
That
Hey,
is,
Arthur Smith is a loyal guy at least.
yeah, that is amazing.
He grew up in a billionaire household, still got great loyalty.
That
Goes
is
to show you.
amazing. Good for Arthur Smith.
True.
I forgot.
Especially since he's going to inherit FedEx.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, Rashad White.
there's just no end to Arthur Smith's love for Johnny Smith and Cordell Patterson. Might as well trade for Tyler Algier too.
Oh, too valuable. The Falcons actually use him.
No. All right, midway through the 10th round, ladies and gents, let us know how you guys are feeling about your teams, and we'll do team reviews for whoever wants them at the end as well. Arthur Smith running a flex spot in real life, right? Steelers would be the worst offense for fantasy.
That's not true. The
I think
Browns.
they'll be worse than the Steelers. Once again, like Garrett Wilson had his most productive year of his career last year. Devontae Adams had some ridiculous games. And like I get it was literally like Rodgers was just like pinpointing Adams aggressively, but Adams was the wide receiver 11. Garrett Wilson was the wide receiver 10. Brees Hall was the RB 16. And we did have early production out of Alan Lazard last year. So there's definitely hope here. But an offense can be productive.
New Orleans Saints exist. Like,
Yeah.
that's the worst fantasy offense. Like, it's a black hole. Their wide receiver is a huge question mark. They have no quarterback, and their running back is kind of like, okay, we're gonna feed an old running back a million times.
I kind of like Tyler
Saints
Shuck. So
yeah, Tyler Shuck might be older than Alvin Kamara. Who knows?
he was originally supposed to come out of Trevor Lawrence's draft class.
Yeah,
Um,
he backed up Herbert.
I do think
Herbert.
that the Steelers offense, I 100% agree, Taylor, that it could be like just really frustrating and a headache. Like offenses can be like have the production, but be really annoying for fantasy at the same time. So I could agree in that sense.
Could they be worse than last year at getting in the end zone, though? I feel like you couldn't have been much worse than getting into the end zone for the Steelers, especially after like the moonball Russ phase we had for a minute there. Is like they just could not score touchdowns. We're going to at least find some touchdowns here, which will boost everybody in fantasy.
Browns at least will have concentrated touches. Adams, Wilson are wide receivers that create separation. Metcalf's not to mention Arthur Smith. And that's fair. I mean, I will put Adams and Wilson above Metcalf. And like, I mean, I always say it, bad offenses still always produce good fantasy players. Like we've talked about it throughout the offseason. Like, there's still players on the Browns or even the Saints, Giants, Patriots, Colts, whoever it is that you don't like. I know a lot of people like the Patriots, but like, there's going to be production there one way or another. Even, Sincere McCormick was having, and Amir Abdullah were balling out at the end of the season last year for the Raiders. Like,
Pittsburgh was like 20th last year. Like, they're not going to be like, they could at least be 20th.
Sure.
I don't think they got any worse on offense. And the offensive line's better. They upgraded at running back probably with Caleb Johnson. Rodgers can definitely be as good as Justin Fields, Russell Wilson combo.
And they completely, they didn't even let Justin Fields like play. Like,
well, Jenny, he did that one game. He threw like 2 picks, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna stop that. That scares us."
And it almost felt like as the season went on, they did the same thing to Russell Wilson. It just was weird.
I heard they wanted to go back to Fields at the end.
Yeah, and it looked really good for Russ at the beginning there, but yeah.
I mean, how are the Giants and Cleveland any better? Like, Cleveland was the worst offensive football last year, and Judy had like a good year. What if Joe Flacco gets hurt and we're throwing out Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders? That just scares me. They can't run the ball either. There's no help.
Saints, Browns, Colts will all be worse, says Ghost Hunter. And Taylor says, I'm not saying the offense will be worse. I'm saying consistent weekly options. Yeah, and I can agree with that. Like, I could definitely see it being one of these offenses that is just super frustrating for fantasy. I think that's completely fair.
Unless, and I think Rodgers starts throwing to Rodgers could start throwing to guys that we've never even heard of before for touchdowns. That would kill us.
Even when you look at Metcalf, he started off pretty strong, but he was still a bit up and down. And then like the second half of the season was pretty up and down as well. And it was basically the same way in 2023.
But like, does anybody throw a better like contested ball? Like Rodgers throwing a back shoulder. Like, it feels like Metcalf is a perfect guy for like a back shoulder jump ball.
Yeah,
like, that's what he can do really good still. And that's what Rodgers can throw him. Geno Smith can't throw that football like that.
I still like Metcalf kind of just based off the fact of how much production we got to Wilson and Adams last year. And it's like, once again, like, who else is taking the targets? Like, I guess the 2 tight ends now, and then Calvin Austin. I don't really know what type of production receiving wise we're going to get out of Jalen Warren and Caleb Johnson. So I mean, I don't know. I personally, like, I don't want to reach for Metcalf. If you look tonight, Evans, Metcalf, Adams, MH, Sutton. I would say maybe like DJ Moore, like that's kind of like a tier. I probably I take shares of any of those guys. I'm drafting in enough leagues and enough best ball drafts that I can, but it's like, I don't think that Metcalf separates himself fully there. So Kamara, Olave, Shaheed will get every touch regardless of who's at quarterback. Yeah, that I don't hate. Like, and dude, Shaheed was on a great pace last year before he got hurt. And I think Olave, people feel like he's more of a question mark just because of the concussion stuff and all that, which is fair. I think Kamara will be fine. He's one of these running backs, kind of like a Breece Hall, who can benefit from poor quarterback play because get a lot of dump offs. I would like to see some touches go, like keep Kamara fresh. Who that RB2 is I guess theoretically up in the air. I would say Devin Neal, the rookie out of Kansas, would be my pick, but Kendre Miller's on his team, and so is Cam Akers. You know, we love some Cam Akers on the channel. Who am I drafting? Need a tight end. Might go Darren Waller. Let's go Tucker Kraft. That sounds fun. Jets are going to jet. Giants probably be a disaster outside of neighbors. I kind of like the Giants. Call me crazy. We got some neighbors. Wandale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Tyrone Tracy, Cam Scatterbo. We got some options here.
Yeah, they still ran the ball okay last year.
Yeah, we got some options. As soon as my guy Jackson Dart gets in there, it's a different team. We'll see. Don't forget another Arthur Smith guy on the roster is Scotty Miller. Is he an Arthur Smith guy?
I don't think I thought he was a Tampa Bay guy.
I feel like at this point, everyone's an Arthur Smith guy. Either him or Bobby Trees will be Roger's favorite.
There you go, Bobby Tree. That feels like a Roger. There you go.
No. I'm standing by my Calvin Austin support, but we'll see what happens.
Not as funny. It's not as funny.
It's not as fun. Definitely not. What's up, Chase? How's it going? Good to see you, bro, Chacho. All right, boys and girls. Just about one more round left here. Been an interesting draft tonight. Kind of like my team. Don't know what I'm going to do with this last pick. Tucker Kraft or Jake Ferguson. That was kind of an interesting conundrum there. I want to see, what is Darren Waller's ADP right now? 371.
I don't know if that's updated.
I don't think it is. It's still pretty low. I'm going to put him on my queue for now. I might draft him tonight. I'm either going to go like with a dart throw receiver or another tight end. All right, let us know if you guys want team reviews. We'll start rolling through those as well. Darren Waller's AARP is probably higher than his ADP. Oh, I'm on the clock. I was going to take Darren Waller as a joke, but I'm just not going to do it.
Hey, Darren Waller's only 32 years young, guys. He's still got some ball left to be played by Darren Waller.
Go Ced Tillman here. It's been my classic 13th rounder. But I'd also be okay going two tight ends here. I think Tucker Kraft's a bit touchdown dependent, but I'll play the waivers for Darren Waller maybe. All right. Thank you guys for draft tonight. Another good draft in the books. 2 more picks. And we'll see what you guys did. Someone draft Darren Waller. We only have 2 picks left. Do it reverse. You know you want to. CJ Stroud down. No Darren Waller. Xavier Legette down. Darren Waller undrafted. Shameful. Shameful, guys. All right, let's see what we got, ladies and gents. All right, Andrew at the 112. Baker, Moneymaker, and Mark Andrews. Good values on both those guys. I'm fine with them as your QB1 and tight end 1. Kamara, Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson. Kind of aggressive at wide receiver to start, but still pretty good running back room here. I might prefer personally like a Dobbins or Rashad White over Stevenson, but I think Stevenson could still get volume this year. AJ Brown, Lad McConkey, MH, Chris Godwin, great start at wide receiver. Good value on Chris Godwin. Jack Besh, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Leggett, some dart throws at receiver that could all have production for sure. So Baker, Andrews, Kamara, Aaron Jones, AJ Brown, Len McConkey, MH, Chris Godwin's your starting roster. Good with me. Good squad. Cameron, what's up? We got Burrow at QB, Bowers at tight end. Say no more. JT Hampton, Jordan Mason, Ray Davis, Trey Pinson, Tyler Algier. Very Cameron running back room. Chase, Tet, McMillan, Jennings, Matthew Golden, Keon Coleman. This is a very Cameron team, Cameron. Burrow, Bowers, JT, Omar, and Hampton, your starters. Chase, Tet McMillan, Jennings. I would argue you're going to flex Matthew Golden, but I guess it could be Jordan Mason too. A lot of handcuffs here. Some upside with like a Keon Coleman on the bench. I don't hate it. It's not how I draft, but I'm not going to knock your strat. Starting lineup's not bad. All right, Tamone at the 1-5. What's up, man? Fields and Purdy. I like that for late round QBs. Ingram at tight end. Chuba, Connor, Trayvon Henderson, Bashaw Tootin, Isaac Garando. Not bad. JJ Hill, Rice, Debo, and Downs. So starting Fields or Purdy, Ingram, Chuba, Connor, JJ Hill, flexing Rice, then really flexing whoever's playing best out of Trayvon Henderson, Debo, Downs, Travion. Maybe somebody could move up to RB2 there. Tootin potentially as well, and then Garando if CMC goes down. So not bad. Good value at quarterback, good value at tight end. Starting receivers look good. Pretty good value for kind of mid-round running backs. Coast to coast. What's up, man? Any hope for the 1-3? Asked Chunk. Lamar, you're good there. McBride and Hawk, good there. If I draft McBride in the third, I'm not drafting Hawkinson, but that's fine. Bijan, Jacobs, Mixon. I mean, a zero wide receiver team. So yeah, I mean, in a double flex format, like going zero wide receiver, so to speak, you could end up flexing Hawkinson. So maybe that's fine. Then you got Hunter, Myers, Trey Harris, McMillan, Bateman, Thielen at receiver, and Nick Chubb is here too. Both Houston running backs. So starting Lamar and McBride, a lot of upside there. Bijan, Jacobs, and that's great. Then you're starting Myers, Hunter. I'm going to argue you're flexing Joe Mixon, then flexing whatever wide receivers left. So interesting build. It could work with free agency and maybe trades. Or if these wide receivers hit, you're in a really, really good spot. Even if you have like a floor of like 12-ish points, which I think Hunter and Myers could get you. And you get that out of one of these like bench guys. I think
you could like you could have like 3 top 7 backs right there.
Yeah. I mean, if Mixon goes down, you got Chubb. But let's not forget, like Mixon was very productive last year too. All right. I, for one, support Darren Waller and retiring the second he learns he's not going to be on the Giants. That's fair. Ray Gamer, don't worry. We'll have plenty more. We started a little bit earlier tonight too. So we'll have plenty more. All right. Pete went with Goff and Caleb Williams, both your nemesis. Just missing Jordan Love there. Good value at late round quarterback and Njoku. Good there. Henry, Kyron, Pacheco, Caleb Johnson. Solid. I feel like I haven't seen you draft a lot of Caleb Johnson.
This is definitely the first.
Johnny Smith swayed you. Different offense now.
Yeah, just good spot for an RB4, and it was a weird spot for wide receivers.
Yeah. Puka, DJ Moore, Flowers, Diggs, Amika Egbuka. And then Devin Neal's here too. Nice. All right, so starting one of the two quarterbacks, and Njoku, Henry, Kyron, Puka, DJ Moore, Flowers. Then really, I think any of these four guys could be flexed. But honestly, I'd argue Diggs is in the flex and full PPR. Maybe Pacheco. It's a pretty good bench here. I like that we kind of talked about Devin Neal at the end of the stream, and then he ended up on the team. All right, what did I do? I kind of like this team tonight. Kyler quarterback, Tucker Kraft at tight end is a little risky. Still feel like he was essentially 100% touchdown dependent. He only had one double-digit game where he did not score a touchdown, so that scares me. But Ferguson, could have gone Ferguson there. Like Dallas Goedert didn't get drafted. There's some good tight ends that didn't get drafted. I could attack the waivers. Darren Waller didn't get drafted. So, Brees, Kenneth, Brian Robinson, Charbonnet, Rashad White. I love this running back room personally. Neighbors, Lundo, J-Mo, Addison, Jaden Reed, Sid Tillman. A lot of upside at receiver, and I feel like pretty good value throughout this draft at receiver. So, yeah, I'd be starting Kyler and Kraft, Hall and Walker, Neighbors, London, J-Mo, Addison. If Addison's suspended, then I think Brian Robinson, Jaden Reed, or even Rashad White could be flex. And then got the handcuff to Walker and Charbonnet, who has standalone value and nice start throw, and said Tillman. So I'd be good at this team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for drafting tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out, talking some fantasy, talking plenty of Johnny Smith, Darren Waller, Aaron Rodgers, Arthur Smith, Cordell Patterson, and everything else that we went over tonight. It was a fun stream for the Darren Waller special, say the least. So we'll be back next Tuesday. We'll have an Underdog stream, probably Saturday night as well. And we got plenty of content coming out this week. So make sure you guys are checking out the videos, checking out the shorts, and we'll wrap it up for the night. Pete, let you say goodbye, and we'll be done.
All right, good draft. It's July, a game in 30 days. We got stuff to talk about. Starting to get a feel on what the board's going to look like come actual draft day. So let's go.
Closer and closer. Start the clocks. Countdown. 30 days. First preseason game. Less than 20 days. First day of training camp. Cross our fingers, no injuries this offseason. And cross our fingers for more exciting news by the time we stream next week. Because
just no injuries. No injuries.
No injuries. We don't want that. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you again for drafting. Thank you guys for hanging out. And make sure you guys are keeping your eyes peeled. We'll be back next week. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the catch. And